Hello friends, this is the Kabil Bano team. Welcome to the course on resume refinement, essentials that every student needs to know. So what will you learn from this course? At the end of this course, you will be able to learn and relate the following things. So what is a resume? Why is a resume important for students in the job selection process? What are the contents of a good resume? What should a student include in a good resume? And what do the recruiters want? And finally, the important points to be kept in mind while preparing a resume. So let's get started, friends. So what is a resume? A resume is one of the most important tools in the job search and selection process of a candidate. At the right hand side of the slide, you can see a typical resume. So the most major use of a resume is to secure an interview for a candidate. A resume helps in highlighting the profile of the candidates. For example, the recruiter will come to know the education, experience, major skills, strengths and other details of the candidate through that particular resume. And all these details are critical for determining the suitability of a candidate for a particular job opening in a particular company. Why is a resume important for students? For every job opening in a company, I'm not kidding you, there are hundreds of students who wish to be selected. In such a situation, the first step in any selection process is absolutely very important. And do you know what is the first step? The first step is to connect to the recruiter and share your credentials in a written format. This is important, and this written format is called the resume. Without the resume, do you think it is possible for a recruiter to look into the profiles and credentials of many unknown candidates? Why I say unknown? Because most of you are unknown to the recruiters. So without the resume, which is in written format, it is very difficult for the recruiter to check the profiles and credentials and identify suitable candidates. Thus, it is very much essential for candidates to prepare a good resume so that it attracts the recruiter. Now, the important question is, what should be included in a good resume? Now, we have formed these particular slides after taking the views of at least 30 recruiters in the last cycle. Now, this is specially prepared for students who are fresh graduates. There are two kinds of resumes. The first is a chronological resume and the second is a functional resume. So, we recommend, based on our discussions with recruiters, we recommend a chronological resume format for students. So what is a chronological resume? A chronological resume is a format in which all the details, be it education, be it experience, all the education and experience details are listed year-wise. That is from the existing year to the previous years. For example, if you are a student currently pursuing your BE program, you should first of all mention your degree BE and then you should mention the details about your HSC or SSC. So all the other details that have happened previously should come later. Now, as I told you that there's another format called the functional format that is in use mostly by experienced professionals. We shall not get into it. For you to understand and for you to remember, a chronological resume is a format that we recommend at this stage for you because you are fresh graduates. Now, let us also look individually at the different sections that should be there in a good resume. The first section is your name and contact details. Now, this is one of the most important sections of a good resume. You should always keep this in mind that this is the most important section. The name, your name, for example, my name is Sandeep Kumar Sharma. So, Sandeep Kumar Sharma must be mentioned clearly at the top of the first page of the resume. Now, a resume can be of 2 pages. So, on the first page, at the very top, it could be in the middle or it could be in the left, it could be in the right. But at the very top of the first page of the resume, your name must be mentioned absolutely clearly. You can have your name in bold letters and always use your full name. Now, there's something else that I wanted to share with the students, especially from Mumbai and Maharashtra. I have noticed several resumes in which the surname comes first and then the first name comes later. Now, this is always a confusion. For example, if I tell you Sharma Sandeep Kumar, this is very confusing. So you should always mention your first name in the beginning and then your surname. So this is how you should put it: Sandeep Kumar Sharma. there should not be absolutely any confusion in the minds of the recruiter. Now let's come to the contact details. The contact details must include a mobile number that is working and a working email address that you check regularly. Don't mention two mobile numbers, because most of the cases the other mobile number would be switched off, or it might not be in the reachable area. So always include a mobile number so that whenever the recruiter calls you, he is able to reach out to you on that particular mobile number. And also the email address has to be checked by you regularly on a day-to-day basis, every day, at least during the night or during the evening before you go to bed. You should check your email at least once. Now, the key here is that you should not make any mistake in contact details. This can be a fatal mistake. Just assume that your resume is a very, very good resume and your details, your educational credentials are really, really good. And the recruiter wants to contact you, but he's not able to do that. This can be a fatal mistake. You will never be called again by the recruiter. This is fatal. So please don't make any such mistakes in contact details. What could be the typical mistakes in contact details? The first typical mistake is, instead of the 10 digits of a mobile number, you have mentioned only 9 digits. This is one of the most fatal mistakes of a good resume. Always don't make any mistakes in spelling. Don't make any mistakes in digits as well. Now, there is a question which is asked by many candidates about mentioning your address. You can mention your address. It could be a permanent address or it could be a current address. A current address could be the address of your hostel if you are staying in the hostel of a college. But that is not that important. If you mention it, just make sure that it is a one-line address. Don't make it a 2 or 3 lines address. So what is important on the first page, the topmost section of the resume, the first page, the things that are important is your name clearly and your contact details in the form of a good mobile number and a working email address. These are absolutely essential. Coming to the next section. So just after the contact details and your name would be a profile summary. Now, there are two things which are in the market currently. One is a profile summary and the other one is an objective. Many students normally put an objective because they don't know what to put in the profile summary. And objectives are normally very, very hazy. Students write objectives after copying from the internet. And if you look at the objective of one particular student, you can very well say that it has been copied from, let's say, a good resume of some other candidate. I would suggest, based on the views of recruiters, I would suggest a profile summary instead of an objective. Now, these are two different things. A profile summary is a summary. It gives a gist of what your educational skill is, what your technical skill is, what your interest area is. Whereas objective is simply a statement of what you want to do. So I would recommend a profile summary. A profile summary, see why I'm telling you a profile summary is so important. This is because a recruiter only spends about 30 seconds maximum on a resume. And the first thing that a recruiter looks at is the profile summary. And by looking at the profile summary, he will get to know all the important details about you that he should know before selecting you for that particular job. A good profile summary should mention the latest educational qualification. In this case, it could be an MBA or a BE or an MCA. Key technical and soft skills that the candidate has and your interest areas as far as jobs are concerned. It should be a maximum of 3 to 4 lines. It should not be more than that. So let's look at one good profile summary statement. A BE mechanical student of 2011 to 15 batch from Rajeshwari College of Engineering, Bangalore, with 3 months of internship experience in CAD, in L&T and career interest in CAD and CAM. This is a very, very good profile summary statement. It tells you that you are a student of this batch, from this college, from this much months of internship experience, in what area, in what company, and what are your career interests in the future. So if there is an opening for CAD or CAM, this will immediately attract the eyes of the recruiter. So this is what a good profile summary is. So again, some basic things about profile summary. Mention your latest educational qualification, the key skills that you have, and your interest areas in 3 or 4 lines maximum. And don't make any spelling mistakes or any grammatical mistakes here. If you do that, your resume will be thrown in the dustbin. This is again very important, as I told you that the recruiter only spends about 30 seconds on one particular resume. This is absolutely critical. Always keep this in mind. Okay, so let's move to the third section, which is the educational details and technical skills. Now, start with listing your latest educational degree to the last. As I said, this is a chronological resume, so you should always mention your latest degree at the very top. So if you are a BE student, you start with your BE degree, and then you mention about your HSC and SSC, your school level details. Now, I will tell you some fatal mistakes which have been done by many students. I have come across several resumes, in fact hundreds of resumes, in which students have just mentioned the degree. For example, BE from Rajrajeshwari College or BE from Sabu Siddique College of Engineering. They have forgotten to mention the specialization in their entire resume. Can you believe that? They did not mention their specialization. So what are the things that you need to mention in your educational details? Always mention your degree, and that has to include specialization. Always mention the name of your college, the years of degree. You remember in the last profile statement I stated 2011 to 2015 batch. Always mention that. And the percentage of marks, if you could mention the aggregate percentage of all the years, this is a better thing. But if you want to mention the individual years percentages, even that is fine. But always make sure that you mention your degree, your specialization, your college, years of degree, and percentage of marks. Now, after you do that for the latest degree, you can mention it the same details for HSC, for SSC as well. Now, one of the most important things to keep this in mind is how to present this particular educational detail. You should always use a table to provide all these details. All this information should be arranged in a tabular format, and make sure that you apply proper formatting to the table so that it looks at least attractive to the recruiter. Below the table, you could also add another small table on key technical skills that you have gained during the degree. Or what you could do is you could add an extra column in the same table after the percentage of marks column in the table, and you could mention that these are the key technical skills that I have learned. For example, a BE student with a specialization in computer science, after mentioning the percentage of marks, he can add another column and state that he has worked on .NET, he has worked on VB, he has worked on Java. These are the key technical skills that he has gained during the degree. So hope this is clear, and always use the tabular format and apply proper formatting to the table so that it looks attractive. The other section is internships and projects. This is again very important, and you should always mention all your projects and internships in this section. Clearly mention. Now let's talk about each of these projects. For each of these projects, you should clearly mention the title of the project and always include a 2-line description of the project, because the recruiter would always want to know what have you done, what was the objective of that particular project. You could also mention within those 2 lines the key technical skills that have been put to use for the project. For example, if you think that if your project was developing let's say a mobile application, you could just write the name of the project and you could state that you have developed this mobile application using Java. Just an example. And this was the objective of that particular mobile application. So this is needed as far as the internships and project sections is concerned. Again, presentation, as far as presentation is concerned, all the information should be there in a tabular format. This is highly recommended. And this section is particularly useful for the recruiters to gauge your corporate exposure and the key skills